Welcome to 54 Golf. It is demo day at the PGA show, and I am here in Orlando. Jerome and Jay were not able to make it this year, but we will all be here next year, so you can count on that. Be on the lookout for probably next week some content from demo day. It's a great time. But we have some big news today. Phil Mickelson adding his fourth player to the HyFlyers, Michael La Sasso, third on the PGA Tour University rankings, NCAA champion, YouTube star with a 1 million view video with Bob Does Sports. So personality, golf game, like the absolute perfect fit for the league.
So he's just exactly like us. That's great.
He's basically us. Exactly what the HyFlyers needed. Talk about a team that only had like one personality in Phil, and that was a 55-year-old who, he does this thing, but not necessarily grabbing the HyFlyers and turning them into something that younger fans would be attracted to. Jay, I'll start with you. How much you know about La Sasso, and how much do you think of an impact he'll make for the HyFlyers this year?
I think a young gunner like that is perfect for LIV. Coming out hungry, wanting to win, going right into a team aspect, coming off of a national championship, college theme, having that team atmosphere, I think is huge. He's going to roll in. He's going to perform quick, and I think it's an awesome pickup for the HyFlyers. I think the age has a lot to do with it. I think he's hungry. I think he wants to make money. He wants to succeed, win. He's coming off of that win. I think it's huge. Maybe he's 21 years old or something like that, right?
Yeah, something like that. The early 20s for sure. He bypassed his last year in college. He turned down his invitation to the Masters this year to turn pro because he would have gotten into the Masters as an amateur. But turning pro, he loses his invitation to the Masters, which we could have a whole entire show on how dumb that is. In other sports, you see like this influx of young talent, and especially with you knowing a lot about the NFL, like the average age of NFL teams continues to get younger and younger. Younger players are making more of an impact. Like, this is clearly LIV's model now to go after these young 20-something stars and put them right into the fire.
What's actually ironic is that for the NFL, that age is actually going to start getting a little older because of NIL. Some players are going to stay in school and keep making, it's not as much money as the NFL, but they're going to keep making money in lieu of possibly getting drafted by a terrible team. We've already seen that with a couple of quarterbacks, but that notwithstanding, I think this is great. I'm really excited for him. It's going to be awesome when, Phil buys him a hooker so he can lose his virginity. I think that's going to be great. I'm very excited for him for that. Hopefully it's when they're playing, in Korea or Thailand, good for him. But yeah, no, it makes all the sense in the world. Like Jay said, he comes from a national championship in a team golf setting. So he should be able to just roll right into this with, let's be honest, if you're getting into professional golf, wouldn't it be great for your mentor and your captain to be Phil Mickelson?
I can't think of too many other people that I'd rather have. So the HyFlyers fill out their final roster spot with a college star. Great move for the league. Great move for Phil. Great move for the team.
Do they make money right? When he signs with LIV, is it public of what he makes?
There'll probably be a leak of how much the contract is worth.
I'm curious as to an established PGA star coming over making mucho dinero to somebody who's coming right out of college, proved themselves in the college setting, but haven't proved themselves in professional golf yet. I wonder what that difference is, or what kind of bonus structure there is.
I was gonna say they have so many examples of this already on LIV, like guys who played even professionally, like Tom McKibben, who made $1.7 million and then came over to LIV, and even if he signed a $5 million deal and played all the events and where he finished in the league, he still made 7 times as much as he would have made playing full-time professionally. And then with the PGA Tour, like none of that money's guaranteed. They can make $0 in a year, and there's so many guys who go by the wayside, hot up and coming college stars who just kind of get lost in the 144 now 100 player tour. It's like those players kind of get turned over so quickly that they never really get a chance to establish themselves. And with guaranteed 13 plus the team championship, guaranteed events, like this just seems like a pathway that more and more young college star golfers are going to take, not just necessarily for the guaranteed money, but just like the guaranteed playing, like they're guaranteed to play in 13 events. And
another good point to make that you made mention of before, that he has some YouTube golf credits already, and it's still a thing that, he can't be involved in any of that if he went to play for the PGA. And this allows him to not only continue his brand that he's already sort of built, right, but also expand that and get more involved with that and make, because I mean, listen, if you post stuff on YouTube, you can make money doing that. Like Bryson makes money, with all of his, from his channels and everything like that. So, he can even expand his own brand and use things that he's learned and connections he can make that he's making in LIV in order to expand his own brand and make more money just on his own. Where if he went to, play for the PGA, he's not allowed to do any of that.
And even on top of that, it makes him more appealing to the HyFlyers and LIV because he has a brand, right? He's not just a guy. He's not Victor Perez. No offense to Victor Perez, an established golfer who never really, went outside of the establishment golf and did things outside of that. But La Sasso, Byster, like these guys have their brands. And I see Byster on social media every day now playing golf with somebody. I see Caleb Surratt playing against Evan Thompson. Like you see these guys and they get it, that age group gets it, which is awesome. Awesome for them, awesome for the league. And making the HyFlyers a more profitable team as well, because that Michael La Sasso's brand is now coming to the HyFlyers. Speaking of teams, Austin, I hope you can hear me. We had some changes in the teams. The Majestics go with the British color scheme and the English Bulldog logo, which was very much needed. I mean, super much needed. They had one of the worst colors, and I don't know what the logo was supposed to be. It must be something European, but whatever their logo was for the last 4 seasons didn't make sense to me. Didn't really match what their team was. And as an all British team now, like, makes perfect sense. Good job by them. And then we had 2 other teams completely change their branding. We had the Ironheads go to the KGC, the Korean Golf Club, and then we had the Stinger GC go to the Southern Guards. Like upgrades, downgrades, stay the same. How do you feel about the three new looks?
Easy upgrades. I feel like, especially for teams that are having a rough go for the past couple of years, that just haven't really had anything going for it. Sometimes just those new colors, new logo. It's just a quick refresh of, hey, this is our new team. And so I feel like, yeah. I'm just saying as a refresh. I feel like they got new players, they got new logos, everything about them. I'm actually very excited to see how well they do this year, just because having a new captain, having new players on there, a little bit younger, could be a nice change for that actual team itself. I think the logos themselves, I think they did a great job. So whoever's coming up with those ideas, it's a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more of a tough than I'd say the Majestics look. So I'm excited for that. But just to rewind just a little bit about La Sasso, has anybody talked about his swing? Like, the dude looks powerful. The side bend on him, it's very similar to like a Waco Neiman, but it's just, he looks like he just launches the ball. He's got Saquon Barkley tree trunk of legs.
It's like the prototypical now LIV signing when you look at, like I said, Byster and La Sasso. Yep. Like, you're going after these like absolute peak athletic golfers in their early 20s who are going to put on a show every single week. So
and I've said it a bunch of times. I think they got to get younger, and I feel like they nailed this one. Like, super young, right out of the division, like a national championship. I feel like that's a perfect spot, and good for Phil to figure that one out.
Jay, you're a big Kevin Na guy. You feel like he got a raw deal on LIV now. He got his captaincy taken away, sort of. He never really was an equity captain, whatever that means. I mean, that's just like a term everybody throws around. Like, he never really was like that full level captaincy. But then, Ben On comes in. Now he gets to take over a team, bring in his own guys, create his own look. They went full hard into the K-pop culture, 100% in. LIV Golf Korea is going to be wild. You're going to see tons of merch at that event. It's going to be, they absolutely nailed it. And I feel like it stinks because Kevin Na seems like a really good dude. And, he never really got the shake he probably deserved comparatively to like the other captains in the league.
Yeah, Kevin Na's great. I mean, the walk-in putt, we all love that. Tiger, like, he's a good dude. He's lighthearted, but I think it's huge to have a younger refresh. Kevin Na's older, Ben On's younger. Like you said, riding that whole Korean, everything on Netflix, everything's Korea right now. It's huge, right? So I think that's a huge play. And And in the golf community around the world, Korea is huge. A lot of big stars, especially on the LPGA. So I think it's big.
They were already doing this, but I do feel like changing the names a little bit. It just speaks more to global golf. I feel like that's what LIV is. They're very big on the global golf, but having an all Korean team, an all English team, or an all American team, like I feel like it does touch those buttons a little bit more. And I know Ben On was on the President's Cup. It probably won't happen for him this year. But if they can finally decide to come together with something, you may have some better players that are coming from LIV Golf that could, to be all in all honesty, the President's Cup is very boring to watch, except for maybe the last day when they start to make a little run at it, but they just don't have the juice that the European team has. And they may get those players coming out of LIV Golf at this point in time.
Agree with you. It would be a boost to the President's Cup. They're not going to play, obviously, but if something were to happen where they could figure that out, LIV would be a huge additive to that competition for sure. Like you'd get to see these guys throughout the year, learn about their personalities.
Absolutely.
It would be so much better for that event. Jerome, you're our fashion expert here. The of the three new looks and new logos, which one's the best?
It's the Korean Golf Club. It's actually not even close.
Great.
So if you look at in grand scope of all the, like, because each team has a pretty succinct color scheme, right? And that's great marketing, right? You don't want anybody to look necessarily too much like another one, but I think in terms of branding, in terms of the socioeconomic profile of the fans, right? Team Korean people are they're very pro their own people. So it gives an opportunity for a fan base to develop in Korea, to buy merch, to wear merch, go to the events and stuff like that. I think the color scheme is nice and bright. It's a good color. And I think that I'm excited to see what comes out of the other side of, when the season starts and they start wearing their apparel and everything like that, what comes out the other side. Although, and personally, I like dark green, so I do like the Southern Guard. I do like the idea of having a rhino. The idea that, having these things that you can turn logos and put it on shirts and put it on sweatshirts and put it on polos, put it on hats and everything like that. Make it a ball, like everything. All of these things, these are little marketing things that they're stair-stepping up as we move forward. And I think the teams did a great job of upgrading. I'd love to see some of the other teams make some changes too in the future, hopefully.
We will see that 100%. So we mentioned, just a quick recap. We mentioned Phil signing La Sasso. That was a huge deal. Teams upgrading their names and logos and even some players. Huge deal. The biggest deal this offseason has yet to be completed, WGR points. I want to just throw this out there. If the season starts in February and they are not getting points this season, does that make it a bad offseason, and will that hurt the league immensely going forward? Because we all assume it's happening.
I mean, I thought that was a done deal, right? They're going to be playing 72 holes so that they can be listed on OWGR for playing and winning in these events, right?
I think that Scott O'Neill and his team have done everything they possibly can to put the best portfolio forward for that. I think that there's huge good old boys golf club that is standing in the way, and there's one big step in the way, and that's Monahan, who is still the representative on the OWGR voting board, who will cast a vote on whether LIV Golf should get points this year.
So wait. If when Bryson and DJ and Patty Reed and who else? Sergio Garcia, all these top names, Phil Mickelson, when they all play in the majors, since they're playing in events that the OWGR deems worthy, they get OWGR points, right? So if
Correct.
LIV changes their format so that it falls under the guidelines of what OWGR will grant points for, then it shouldn't be a decision of, we're not going to count that. Like, we're playing, if we're changing the format in order to meet those wickets that OWGR wants in order to give points to our competitors, it shouldn't be we don't want to do that. Like that, you don't have a choice. You've set the rules on saying, hey, if you want to qualify, you have to do this. If LIV is suddenly doing that, then it should be a slam dunk. No?
I'll play devil's advocate just for a second.
Sure.
One of the things that people say is that the team aspect of the league could potentially
Collude.
impact could potentially.
While I totally understand that doesn't it might hurt an individual's ability to perform better and therefore not maybe get as many OWGR points, but getting points is better than not getting points, right?
I agree with you. I think they have it the exact opposite way. They think that like going out and practicing with your team and having conversations between rounds about what club every one of these guys wants to win the event. They want to get the most points for LIV. They want to win the most money that week at the event. But they also want their team to succeed too. So yeah, they might, help each other, but I don't think that's any different than all the guys who play Titleist left dash putting on the practice green at the exact same time. You know what I mean? Like they all share coaches, they all share trainers,
they all talk to each other.
And that is the other side of it. They are all on the same putting green. They're all at the same driving range. They're friends with each other, regardless of what brand of they're using or the coaches that they're sharing the same coaches and coming up with the same swing ideas. And all of that is really irrelevant. And it's absolutely ridiculous because it's like going to get a permit for your house. You could do all the correct things and put them all out there and they'd be like, nah, it's all right. Well, we're just not going to pass it because it goes through. It has to get passed at that point in time. I find it absolutely ridiculous. And I do think if they don't get them, it does hurt LIV because it hurts all the players that are in there and they're still going to play and they're still getting a paycheck and they're still getting to play, but it's just making the PGA have one more year of whatever they get to do. Because if you look at it on the other side of things, LIV makes a better product for many reasons of the fact that all those best players that you're getting, the DJs, the Brysons, the Sergios, the Phils, the Wacos, all those top players, you get to see them day in and day out. Like if you're paying for that, you're going to go see those players. In the PGA, depending on what event you get to go to, like if you went into the Sony Open, you didn't get to see Scottie Scheffler. You didn't get to see Rory. You're not guaranteed any of those players. They can withdraw at any point in time because they don't have to show up to that event. So I do think they're just holding on to it as long as they can because at one point in time, I feel like LIV's going to surpass it because you are getting all of that product at that point in time. You're getting all of those players to be on the same tournament every single event.
OWGR is a very self-serving organization for 100%. It's made up of the organizations who run the four majors. It's made up of the PGA Tour. Like it certainly serves itself. Jay, put you on the spot. Who's the 12th best golfer in the world right now?
12th best golfer in the world.
Yeah, you have no idea.
I'm gonna go with
Tom. Somebody look it up. Like you have no idea. So if you don't know who the 12th best golfer in the world is, like how do you know who the top 60 golfers in the world are? You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's a ranking system that can effectively delegate to the golf fan who the best golfers are. We see them. Yeah, I mean, like we see them. We know who the number one golfer is. We probably could come to some kind of consensus on top 5. But like once you get outside the top 5, I mean, 6 through probably 8, 40, like it's such a fine line of a difference there. And I'm all for making sure that the best players play in the majors, but make it so that we know how they qualify. Like don't make this some random points-based system that nobody understands. I have the same problem with LIV, why Joaquin Niemann won 5 events, didn't win the championship. John Rahm won the championship because of points. No, the best player on LIV last year was Joaquin Niemann, but John Rahm will tell you that. Like he should be the champion. Tommy Fleetwood won the tour championship. He wasn't the best player in the PGA Tour last year. He wasn't. I mean, there's no debate who was the best player last year. It was Scottie Scheffler. So, like, you watch other sports and it's like, who the best teams are. Who the best players are. Like, golf needs to do a better job of that. And by eliminating LIV golf from that area, you're just devaluing yourself 100%. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. I mean, a lot of people think the exact opposite. Like you talk to somebody who's diehard in the establishment, they're like, this is how it is. We built the perfect system.
I mean, that's kind of like the argument where they were like, oh, well, golf is a white person sport. And it's like, it's perfect the way it is. We don't need to let other people in. We've already made the perfect thing. Look at it. It's perfect. And then they started letting other people play golf. And it's like, oh, no, other people can be good at golf too. It's kind of the same argument. It's like bringing more people into the sport of golf does not hurt golf. Giving people different options about how they watch it. The NFL does not give a shit that the UFL exists. The NFL doesn't give a shit that college football exists. They all can exist in the same place at the same time sometimes. And they all support each other because people that love football want to watch football. People that love golf will want to watch golf. That's the whole fucking point of this, isn't it? PGA doesn't care if people golf. PGA cares that people watch golf. They want people to watch golf because that's where the money is, right? So, like, they should want more people to want to watch golf and not just be the only thing that people can see. That's why it doesn't make sense to me that they won't allow for, doing things on the internet and doing internet videos. And it's like, it brings more people in. What are you doing?
You know what they're doing.
Political, man.
It's not about golf.
It's control. It's control.
Left and right.
It's control. It's 100% control and money. And, as many billions of dollars as there are in golf, they want the most of the billions, the biggest share of the billions. They've always had like almost every billion, right? And now a rival league shows up and it's like taking some of the money, taking some of the, Ping, taking Callaway,
I mean, it's not even just LIV. YouTube golf exists. I mean, fair or unfair to say, YouTube golf exists on its own plane right now outside of PGA. PGA can't make any money off of it, right? People are still golfing. People are still watching people golf. People are spending money to watch these people golf, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
I think that's the perfect comparison. I think that's exactly, and you kind of see a little bit like a couple of the PGA guys going on these channels, and I don't know how the financials work for that, but like you kind of start to see this. They have the Creator Classic. They invite Grant to play in the tournament. Like they realize that like golf has to exist altogether, but there's just this one big thing over here that they don't want to be involved in the game, and that's LIV Golf. It's clear. I mean, it's so obvious. And when somebody who ran the league for decades is getting to decide whether the LIV Golf League is legitimate and should receive OWGR points, when that person is one of 7 people voting, it's like, how does that make sense?
So let's go over this real quick. LIV Golf, smaller fields, right?
57 this year. 57 this year.
Decided to go to smaller fields.
They did. They play 60, all their elevated events, 60 players without a cut.
They want to get the best players all together, and that's why they're going to these smaller events. I don't know. It seems like they're taking a lot of pages out of Liv's book. And the players have talked about they would like to play globally a little bit more. Like they like going through the Scottish and they like going through the European Tour, a lot of those events, and they don't really want those guys going over there because it's taken away from their events.
Look at Anthony Kim's social media. I mean, he's got it right every time. The way he says, like, LIV helps everybody in golf, both sides. They just don't want to admit it. Both format, financially.
When they finally do get the rankings, how they're going to give it a percentage. I'm sure they've already come up with some sort of proposal for them because regular tour events probably get X amount of OWGR rankings. Signature events get a little bit more. The majors get a little bit more, obviously a lot more at that point in time. I'm curious to see, does it change over time? Because I know that the DP World Tour gets a little bit less than the PGA Tour gets just because they're the DP World Tour.
It's based on, the points are based on their strokes gained scoring method. When they play against each other, they compare it against each other. So it's not, that's how they determine how many points are available for each event. So the more players that you have who have played well in previous OWGR events, the higher your event will be ranked for points.
So this is why I say
the
that.
DP World Tour.
So say you get a stacked amount of LIV players in a LIV event, are those numbers going to go higher and higher and higher? And even though you're playing less events, because there's so many good players at every single one of those events, because they're going to have higher ratings or higher OWGR rankings at that point in time?
It's total points, so you can kind of game the system a little bit if you play every single week. Patrick Reed has done this throughout his career. He's played 25, 30 events a year. He still does it. He still plays on the DP World Tour as many times as he can.
Sure, yeah, because
he just wants to collect as many points. Yeah, yep. And that's why he never falls outside the top 50 and keeps eligible for majors and things like that. And all the LIV guys can do that. They just have to pay the fine whenever LIV is playing against a DP World Tour event. That's currently how it is. But Scott O'Neill's talked about trying to get that resolved, where they can work in agreement with the DP World Tour so that, on same week events, LIV doesn't schedule an event like directly up against one of the bigger DP World Tour events or something like that. So, there's definitely some room for that kind of negotiating. But again, it's cumulative points. Elevated events was PGA's, kind of answer to this. Fewer events, but stack the field like you just mentioned. and those events become worth way more than the other events. And so it already exists. Like the entire system that would be put in place day one for LIV Golf through the OWGR exists right now. They could just implement it right now. It would just take, all you have to do is say yes.
Just say yes. It's that easy.
It is that easy. All right. That's all I got for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get the fuck out of here.